With the NFL honors coming about, I've decided to do my predictions for the Big 7 awards: Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, or I should say Offensive Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive and Offensive Players of the Year, and MVP. You're listening to James Kuzneric on Real Steel Sports on Spreaker Web Radio. If anything, the Defensive Player of the Year candidate pool is very deep. And I've come up with a list of 5 guys I believe more than deserving of the moniker Defensive Player of the Year. First off, you've got 2 guys playing in this game on Sunday, the Seahawks, of the Seahawks defense. You've got Richard Sherman, All-Pro cornerback, and Earl Thomas, All-Pro safety. And you can't be wrong with either one of them. They've had remarkable years. If you just look at the years they've had. Earl Thomas this year, five interceptions, 122 combined tackles. He's an All-Pro 2 straight years and a Pro Bowl the last 3 years. On the other side, you got Richard Sherman, the cornerback. 8 interceptions, 125 yards on interception returns, which is more than a Denver defense has total. A pick 6, 2 fumble recoveries, 56 combined tackles, and he's just been locked down on opponents this year. Those 2 guys are more than deserving of the award because of the way they play the game. Physical, hit you hard. Those are the kind of guys you want if you're putting together an NFL team. People say maybe Sherman talks too much. He doesn't talk too much because what he says, he goes out and backs it up. So if you can back it up and you're not going to do anything truly stupid, no. I'll take a guy who talks a little on the field, but off the field is a gem, versus a guy who does nothing but does not talk on the field, but is a dick off the field. Let me tell you something. Richard Sherman off the field is one of the best guys you ever hope to meet. Guaranteed. Another guy that will get consideration, I think, was my candidate at the start of the playoffs, was Panthers middle linebacker Luke Kuechly, because he had one of the best years a middle linebacker has ever had. Rookie of the Year last year on defensive side, and this year 166 combined tackles, 4 interceptions for 33 yards and 2 sacks. Very impressive resume for this year. First team All-NFL, deserving. Kuechly is the best inside linebacker prospect that I've seen since Patrick Willis. That good on the inside. He's just an absolute dominant force. And one that, hits you, but he's so smart too. He's so tactically sound. He's not just a big, brawny kind of hitter like a lot of linebackers. He's so smart and so mentally sharp that tough to fool him. I mean, he's made some of the smartest quarterbacks in the league look stupid in his career. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, you name it. He deserves it. The one thing, though, that I think could hold him back is the fact that the Panthers were one and done in the playoffs and looked pretty meager in their game against the Niners. First quarter aside, it looked pretty mean. It's kind of weird, though. I guess it is. I'm 21 now. So that was December of 1992. And it feels weird talking about a guy for Defensive Player of the Year who was only born about a year and a half before you were. It's weird, I guess. My other 2 candidates are both named Robert. Robert Mathis of the Indianapolis Colts and Robert Quinn of the St. Louis Rams. Now, the problem I have with either of these guys is that they aren't really noted because of the fact they're playing on, one of them, Robert Mathis, is on a mostly offensive team, and another one, Robert Quinn, is on a team that didn't accomplish shit this year. Robert Mathis had an impressive year. 64 combined tackles, 10 forced fumbles, 19.5 sacks to lead the league. Very impressive. On the other side, you got Robert Quinn. Been in the league a few years. He's finally playing some good football. 19 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 57 combined tackles. Return fumble for a touchdown. He's had a very, very impressive season. But Quinn won't win it because you need more than just numbers. Your team kind of has to do well, and your team has to kind of, pick itself up and actually play some good defense in the team. St. Louis, their defense was maybe 13th in the league in points allowed, but yeah, they weren't exactly winning any big games. So those are the big 5. If I had to pick a guy outside of that, it would be Justin Houston for Kansas City. He had a good year until he got hurt. Or we could go with J.J. Watt, who had 10.5 sacks. A down year from what he had last year, getting over 20, getting 20.5, and winning the Defensive Player of the Year award. But it's going to be either Kuechly or one of the Seahawks. Earl Thomas is not very well known. Sherman is relatively well known because of his mouth, but the fact that he's always been so clutch. I would have to say, my honest opinion is I think Richard Sherman's going to win it. And here's why. Because Richard Sherman, the impact he had emotionally on the Seahawks defense this year in big games is the reason why. Because Mathis and Quinn, their defenses didn't do much when it mattered. And Earl Thomas is not as well known on his defense as Richard Sherman is known on that defense. And Kuechly, when his team really needed a mature leader in a game against the Niners, they failed miserably because they were immature, woefully immature. Richard Sherman, however, he's the leader of that defense. He's the guy. He's the guy to look up to. He's the tone setter for the games. He is the emotional vocal leader. He hits you, intercepts it, he does it all. Richard Sherman's 2013 season, 8 picks, a return touchdown, more than deserving of the Defensive Player of the Year award. I believe he is the Defensive Player of the Year. That's my pick. That's who I think should win it. Be back in a few minutes.